Hey there. Today I want to talk to you about performance improvement plans. Unfortunately, this is a topic that I'm very familiar with. So I'm going to go over with you an article from Forbes that discusses exactly what a performance improvement plan should be. And I'm also going to talk about my two experiences with getting on a performance improvement plan and almost getting on a performance improvement plan, because there is a great disconnect, like many of the things that we've gone over, between what should be happening and what's actually happening. So let's dive in. Probably the main reason I'm so jaded with corporate America is because my very first corporate job that I had right out of college was one where I had all kinds of horrific experiences happen to me and around me. So the reason I don't trust corporations, and I don't think that corporations in our generation are places that you can really retire from, is because at that organization, I saw people getting laid off who had been with the organization for 20 years, 30 years, who were really planning on retiring from there, getting a pension that still existed, and really just riding off into the sunset. When you've worked at a place for 20 years or more, you expect to just be there for the remainder of your time. You expect to be able to be there until you don't want to be anymore. So when someone forces you out, when they give you no signs, no warnings, everything seems good, but you got to remember that these companies just view you as a number, or more likely, you're just a number on a budget. So if they're looking to cut costs, they're going to cut costs wherever they can. And if they can have documentation or any kind of reasoning why, any kind of justification or excuse, they're going to use it. So at that company that did all the layoffs, I also had a boss who was just not so best. I mean, she made everything difficult. Like, nobody liked her, no one got along with her, people made fun of her, but like, she had a chip on her shoulder. Like, she was probably someone who was like bullied in high school and stuff like that, or maybe even up to college, and she took that out on everyone else. She had a really good position within the organization, and she decided, hey, I'm going to use my power to maybe not make friends, but to just like make examples out of people, to have that kind of power to treat people poorly, probably like she was treated in the past. So there was no winning with her. It wasn't just me. A lot of people were not big fans of hers, but she put me on a performance improvement plan. And I don't remember why. It was a long time ago, but probably I didn't do a report right, or maybe I just didn't do something up to her liking. I didn't do anything that was critical, that was going to shut down the business, nothing that was going to, land airplanes and prevent people from getting surgery. So nothing super critical in my point of view. That was the first time. And once I got on that performance improvement plan, I knew it was time to go. I saw people who were already there for 20 years who were getting fired and laid off so that they don't get their severance. So how was I going to survive another 20 years when I was only a couple of years in getting written up or on a performance improvement plan, whatever you want to call it. So that wasn't going to last long term. The next time was with an organization that I wasn't at too long, but once again, another power-hungry female boss who just made everything very difficult for me and very difficult for the people around her. So I just knew that things just weren't working out. So when I got told that, hey, if you don't do better or do exactly like she wanted me to do, she was going to put me on a performance improvement plan. She basically let me know that. So she at least gave me a heads up before she did it. So that place had almost put me on the performance improvement plan. I hate it so much. It wasn't working out. I wasn't vibing with my boss at all. So I just straight up left. To be honest, I didn't put in a 2 weeks notice. I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I was so miserable. It was the worst job I ever had in my entire life. I just dropped off my stuff late in the day and said, see you in hell. No, but I basically was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm gone. So no 2 weeks, bridges burned probably, don't really care. So those are my two experiences with performance improvement plans. And it's going to be a big difference between what we're going to read from the Forbes article, which is basically supposed to say, how it's supposed to help improve your performance, how it's supposed to make things better, how it's supposed to make you go to the next level. So that all sounds well and good, but I'm going to compare it to my actual experience and see if any of it is accurate when it comes to the real world of performance improvement plans. Because in my opinion, if they're even talking about doing that, you need to start looking for a new job. Maybe don't quit your job until you find a new one, but if you're on course for a PIP, the timeline is on, the clock is counting down, and it's time to go. So this article is from Forbes, and it is on how to actually create a performance improvement plan. So Forbes says that a performance improvement plan, or PIP, is a written document that identifies how an employee is falling short of expectations and what needs to be done to improve and stay employed. The PIP may refer to job-specific skills that are substandard or soft skills such as leadership or professionalism where the employee is falling short. Additionally, a performance improvement plan may also be used if the employee is performing well but wants to advance to a new position. So everything, like 95% of that is in line with the reality of a PIP. It's to basically tell you that you're not doing a good enough job and you better, as they say, shape up or ship out. The very last sentence about improving your performance before you can get promoted is something I've never seen and had never even heard of before. It says the employee supervisor typically prepares a performance improvement plan and submits it to HR. It should include a specific deadline for meeting the expectations listed in the PIP and consequences or next steps if the employee doesn't meet the standards. The benefits of a performance improvement plan: promotes a positive company culture. That doesn't make any sense. It says employees thrive when they know their expectations and are held accountable for their performance. Performance improvement plans can reinforce a positive company culture where employees know they will be supported if they are struggling or need more guidance to progress in their careers. So this is something that absolutely doesn't make any sense. Yes, employees want to know what's going on. They want to know how they can improve. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter, because unless you're one of the chosen few, and unless you're kissing butt and sucking up to the right people, you're not going to get a raise, you're not going to get a promotion, you're not getting any of these things. So being on a performance improvement plan doesn't mean that this is going to be your steps to take it to the next level. That's what annual reviews should be. It should be, hey, here's everything that you did this year. Here's the things that we liked. Here's the things that maybe could be a little bit better. And kind of what are you looking for? And if someone says, oh, I want to be promoted to manager, then they could say, oh, well, just do X, Y, and Z, and then that will put you more on path, more on line to be promoted. You wouldn't just write someone up in a performance improvement plan in order to do that. That doesn't make any sense. If you're going to give someone hope, which I've been given a lot of hope throughout the years about getting promoted, getting taken to the next level, it's going to be during your annual review, not during a performance improvement plan. The next one is help employees feel cared for. It says when managers take the time to prepare a PIP and outline the specific areas for improvement or steps for advancement, employees feel cared for and supported. In addition, the PIP shows employees that managers are willing to take the time necessary to provide direct feedback and guidance instead of leaving it up to the employees to draw their own conclusions. Once again, you wouldn't feel cared for, you'd feel like your job is on the line. You'd feel like you're a failure, a screw up, that you can't do anything right. So that's 100% not true. The reality is there's no good positive reason for a performance improvement plan besides a paper trail to fire you one day. It says save time and resources. It takes considerable time and money to go through the hiring process and onboarding of a new employee. For this reason, employers may want to offer underperforming employees a chance to improve performance rather than terminating them. This can be especially true if the employee has strong soft skills, such as friendliness, patience, and a good attitude, but needs help with specific work-related skills, such as learning to use new technology. The lady from my first job who wrote me up and gave me on the performance improvement plan, when I was getting hired, she basically said, I can teach you the kind of intangibles of the industry, like negotiating skills and like who the main players are and all the things you need to do your job. But I can't teach you the software. You need to learn the software. So as part of the interview, I had to take a software test on a software I actually never used before. I just am a really good test taker, and I studied over the weekend, and I got like a 90% on the software exam. So yeah, they're not going to try to teach you anything. And this is probably maybe looking at maybe 15, 20 years ago or something, because the reality is there's no training. So I don't even know how you could have a positive performance improvement plan in 2024 when they don't train you on anything. They want you to know every single thing as soon as you walk in the door. They want you to have managed the exact same projects, worked on the exact same software. Like, they're not looking for transferable skills. They're just looking for someone who's literally done every single thing that they're looking for. It said PIPs should include conversations, and these conversations can be hard. If there's one thing managers don't want to do, especially just middle managers, is have hard conversations. They just want to talk about the things that are easy. They just want to basically say, don't take it out on the messenger. This is what my boss told me to do. They want to pass the blame. They want to pass the buck, and they don't want to have any hard conversations. So this is not going to work. Writing the performance improvement plan, handing it to the employee isn't enough. Managers should discuss the PIP with the employee, answer any questions, and address any concerns. Unfortunately, PIP conversations are often complicated, and even when PIPs are a positive tone, which they should as much as possible, it can be hard to give and receive feedback. And yeah, if it was something like you're honestly struggling with, it would be one thing, but they make up all kinds of crazy reasons to write you up. Like I said, they're just looking for ways to get rid of you, so they're going to come up with any little thing. If they really cared about you, they would tell you, like I said, in the end of year review, like, hey, we really like you, you're doing an amazing job, and I'd love to see you get promoted. I'd love to see you take things to the next level, and here's how you do it. It's all about tone, it's all about reasoning. I'm not seeing this at all. And then they give you 5 steps to create a good performance improvement plan. The first step is determine if a PIP is appropriate. PIPs are appropriate for every situation. If, for instance, an employee is creating a toxic work environment and negatively affecting other employees, termination may be necessary. On the other hand, if employees' challenges are relatively minor, an informal conversation may be more appropriate. Number 2, come up with a plan. Before creating a performance improvement plan, a manager should develop a plan. What would a successful performance improvement plan include? How would success for the employee look? How will the employee interpret and respond to the performance improvement plan? Number 3, meet with the employee in question. A successful PIP includes a discussion between the manager and employee, and sometimes an HR rep. And yeah, if the HR rep is involved, then you know you're screwed, because human relations or chief people officers or any of this kind of nonsense are not on the side of the employees. They're on the side of the company. So they're just there to make sure the manager doesn't do anything dumb that could lead to them getting sued or some kind of other negative action. Monitor employees' progress. A performance improvement plan is only as good as its accountability. If the improvements and consequences of the plan aren't followed, it defeats the purpose of the PIP and tells everyone that they don't need to take PIPs seriously. And lastly, assess your employee. If the employee fails to meet the criteria listed in the PIP, the manager will need to decide on next steps. Ideally, the PIP includes a range of consequences, so there is some level of flexibility. Still, ultimately, the manager, perhaps in conjunction with HR, will need to decide whether it's worth the time and effort to keep working with the employee. And the bottom line, performance improvement plans can be an effective management tool if they are used in the right way and under the right circumstances. Businesses typically use them as a tool to help staff understand that they are not meeting the expectations of the role and to give them a path to improving. For employers, it serves to help retain staff, and for employees, it provides the opportunity to understand and overcome the shortcomings within the role. One more personal example I'll give you is someone very close to me recently got put on a performance improvement plan. And I told them, based off my experience, that hey, this is not something to be trusted. You need to immediately go and look for another job. And sure enough, what happened a couple months later? They were laid off. These performance improvement plans are not about improving you, not about making you a better employee, not about helping you get to the next level within the organization. They are just a pathway to termination, and there's really no other way about it. And maybe this is a way to outline a good plan and maybe what can happen, but these kind of performance improvement plans are not happening. Let me know what you think. Have you been on a performance improvement plan? Do you know someone else who has? Because maybe your experience is different than mine. Maybe you've had great and wonderful experiences, but I know for me, once you're on a PIP, you gotta go. Talk to you later.